All right, looks like we're live. Let's just make sure this is going out okay on the YouTubes. On the come on, come on. All right, good enough. I'll check the chat. Doesn't look like there's anybody in the chat. Cool. All right, so I just kind of wanted to, just BS a little bit here late night. I just accepted kind of a sponsored live stream. A viewer, we'll call him Carl. Carl from Aqua Teen, we'll call him. He wanted me to do an hour-long stream where I shit on Lindsay Ellis. That isn't this stream. That's coming later. I'll probably have Luke on board with that. But he was like, "Yeah, I'll pay you to just talk about that topic." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I kind of figured, how hard can it be? I mean, I fuck Lindsay Ellis, to hell with her. So, somebody in the chat says Bechtloff tells us about Candid. No, I'm not. It's not going to be a sponsored podcast where I'm shilling a product. It's sponsored in the sense that somebody is paying me to only focus on one topic, rather than my usual ADD bullshit of just wandering around aimlessly, verbally. Somebody in the chat says that will be awesome and hilarious. Well, I'm going to work to make it awesome, and I did some research tonight, but I will say that I'm rapidly beginning to understand why Jim skipped her in his, Mr. Medicare. I always call him Mr. Matoker, but it's actually Medicare. But I understand why he skipped her, because she is remarkably boring. Honestly, like, okay, yeah, there's the obvious shit. There's the low-hanging fruit there. The batshit fucking feminism that she believes in. Or we'll get to that, maybe only pretends to believe in. And there's, the abortion. There's the fact that, she wants to lecture you about feminism while her tits are half hanging out in her old, nostalgia chick videos. Her boyfriend, Todd in the watching chair, that sort of thing. I mean, there's material there, but there's like 15 minutes of easy material, and then you got to really put some thought into it, because she is such a basic bitch. Like, remarkably so. You ever see, like, Idiocracy? And if you haven't, you should watch it. It's a damn good movie. But, like, the guy is chosen for the program because he is actually remarkably average. He is, like, dead middle in everything. Well, that's kind of Lindsay Ellis. She's a remarkably basic bitch. I got a little Captain Morgan and cranberry juice here while I'm doing the stream. Actually trying to get myself to not be up so fucking late. That's kind of why I'm having a drink. Because all alcohol ever seems to do to me is make me sleepy. So yeah, I don't know if you hear the ice or not. If I sound like fucking, an old Davis Arini video or something. I don't have a cigarette, so I don't quite have the same thing going on as classic Arini, but anyway, yeah, she's just so incredibly basic bitch. Now, I did see that her site Shay's Apocalypse is back up. I know it was down for a very long time, but it is back up, and I was scrolling through that, and I'm going to have to broaden it to all the people swimming in her wake, too, but that's where you get some real fucking material. But yeah, I'll be doing that in the next few days. I might be doing it in the afternoon, actually. Maybe because I want Luke on board, just because, if not, first of all, it'd be nice to have somebody else on board, but also the visuals would be very helpful. And I might do that in the afternoon. I don't know how many days a week Pastor Tom and him do the sanctification hour, and I don't want to step on that. So we'll see. But I told the guy I'd get that done in a week's time from tonight. So it'll happen within a week. But yeah, I understand now why Jim decided to skip her, because there's not a lot of there. I mean, you know, once you get past the lowly feminism and the shit like that, I mean, she's just a really, really bitchy, typical fake geek girl on the internet. You know, she's truly just a typical Tumblr fangirl. Somebody in the chat said Wednesdays are the usual Pastor Tom day. I thought he did it multiple days a week, though. I could be wrong. But yeah, I say all that too to say that if you have a topic you want me to talk about and you would like to sponsor a live stream, you can get in touch with me. It's the Bechtloff on Skype is the best place to talk it out. Or you can message the Bechtloff on the Bechtloff Facebook page if you don't have Skype. That's a good way to message me, and we can back and forth. You know, I can talk about what you want exactly. You know, what you're looking for out of it. I might tell you no, just because, you know, I'm not going to take your money if I don't think I'm going to be able to get anything out of the topic. If I don't think I'm going to be able to, you know, add anything or be entertaining, like that. So, you know, if you come to me with some topic where I don't care or I don't know what I'm talking about or something, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go somewhere else. Yeah. Pastor Tom just does Wednesdays. Okay, well then I probably will be able to get this done tomorrow afternoon, or I should say later this afternoon here in the East Coast, or Friday, probably. Yeah, don't hold me to that. I promised it within a week. It'll happen within a week. I'm thinking maybe in the next day or so. Like I did a little research. Like I looked through, a lot of times trying to refresh my memory. I looked through the Encyclopedia Dramatica page, just because I was hoping that would lead me to some threads. And then I went through some of the Kiwi Farm stuff, but I don't know. Those guys are kind of annoying. Like, they're just, so many of them are just up their own ass, you know, and just, I don't know. There's that old saying that Kiwi Farms love low cows so much they became one, and I think there's something to that. Somebody says, what are some of Lindsay's cohorts like? Oh, shit. Cohorts are, yeah. Oh, man. The people swimming in her wake. There's some winners. Oh, one article I did stumble across. I'm definitely going to touch on this. Lindsay had an article on her blog, I guess it is. Name Brand Lindsay, I think it's called. And I'll get into this. I'll be reading from it and stuff on this stream, but this was hilarious. She's bisexual. She's bisexual. Did you know that? She's bisexual. Yeah, her and like 98% of women. But no, she's bisexual. Oh my God, she's bisexual, you guys. So shocking. That'll show the patriarchy. But she then wants to tell us all about how hard it is to be bisexual, you guys. For the longest time, she didn't even consider herself bisexual. And then, you know, she doesn't quite feel like she fits into the LGBT movement. And, you know, people kind of look down on it's so hard being a bisexual woman, you guys. It's so hard. You don't understand. You don't understand how hard it is. Like she was talking about how she's fetishized. Oh, it's so terrible. It's so terrible. For those of you that don't understand the lingo, that means that she's complaining about being too attractive to the opposite sex. I guess perhaps the same sex. I don't know, but to the opposite. Basically, most men, like, look, if you're a dude, being a bisexual dude, I would imagine it fucking sucks. No pun intended. I imagine that sucks. Because neither the fags nor the straights are gonna really like you. But nobody cares if you're a woman and you're bisexual. First of all, the vast majority of the fairer sex is, at least to some extent. I would never be with a woman, and then 3 fucking drinks later, and it's a different tune. I get. Oh, the perils of being a bisexual woman. It's so hard, you guys. It's so hard. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to have fun with that article. But I shouldn't ramble on about that too much on here. Because again, this is not the paid live stream where I'm going to be talking about that. And as I said, if you have a topic you want me to cover, get in touch with me. We can work it out. And also, just to shill, just to e-bag, down below there is the tip jar where if you enjoy what I do, tips are greatly appreciated. Let's see. Somebody says Chris Cantwell was assaulted in jail. I did not hear that. I have his I Need a Pinochet song, like YouTube video, downloaded on my computer, and I was thinking of mirroring that on my channel. I don't know how he feels about mirroring stuff. It's not on YouTube now because he's been taken down, and it's a shame. That needs to perpetually be on YouTube. There is like an extended, like enhanced version, but his original one is not on YouTube anymore. So I was kind of thinking of throwing that up on here. If you have a YouTube channel and want to mirror it, I can send it to you. I just, I always feel weird about mirroring videos. If I actually had a chance to like communicate with him, like if he gets out of jail but he's still not on YouTube, I'll send him a message and ask him if he's cool with it. But I wouldn't want to mirror a video unless I knew for sure that the person who made it is cool with it. Somebody says Cantwell seems low T until recently and cried like a bitch. Well, I mean, the motherfucker was maced in like 2 days. And he was, men can get a little emotional from time to time. I don't fault him for crying in that video. I don't fault him for getting teared up. I mean, the death of a loved one, the death of your dog, and I guess the death of rule of law, those are decent enough reasons to shed a tear. Don't get me wrong, rule of law has been gone for a while. But when it really hits you in the face the way it must have with him that weekend, I imagine it's upsetting. Lindsay wrote a book with Nella. It was Cthulhu Twilight style love story called Awoken. Well, Undertow, I was chatting with him today, and he told me about 50 Shades of Green was apparently something Lindsay actually crowdfunded, which is supposed to be a Twilight parody featuring Cthulhu instead of vampires. And supposedly she just wiped her ass with that money. At least that's what he told me. So I'll have to look into that. Let's see. The chat's not really going here. Y'all are no help. Let's see. Cantwell needs to toughen up. I think he's toughened up quite a bit. I mean, good Lord, look at how much he got in shape over the last couple of years. Good for him. That's to be admired. Would you ever write your own comic or even start your own comic brand? I had an idea years ago. I mean, probably like a decade ago. A buddy of mine were starting to work on a comic together. He was doing the art, and I was doing the writing. It was just sort of a shared superhero universe story where focused primarily on about three characters, but there were a bunch of characters, large ensemble cast that came in and out of the picture. Um, it was pretty good. It was pretty good, if I do say so myself. Unfortunately, some very personal things happened to my friend that just he was just not able to focus on it for a while, and the thing got shelved. I'd love to dust it off actually, but he's very busy right now, so um, yeah, I'd like to dust it off. And I might in the future. We might in the future. We'll see. Certainly with Marvel in the state it's in, there's there's a demand for good old fashioned superhero stuff that isn't paused in the niggle. So he says, "What is the least faggy Marvel comic right now?" Well, I can tell you the only ones I'm reading are Scarlet Spider, which I'm probably going to drop. I only really hopped onto it because of the creative team of Peter David and Mark Bagley. And while it's not bad, it's not really flooring me. And there's a title, Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, which is like an alternate universe title where Spider-Man has two kids with MJ, and MJ also has spider powers because there was there was some plot device that expanded her Peter's powers to MJ too, and basically they fight crime as like a family. It's almost like Spider-Man meets the Incredibles, and I like the fact that there's a title out there where Spider-Man's married. I enjoyed that, but also it's got some decent family values in it that I think are sorely lacking from a lot of Marvel. And I like seeing Spider-Man as a man. It's one of the things I really liked about him when I started reading comics. I mean, this was a married man, who had grown up, who had a history behind him and actually had grown up. And I like that, especially, I don't like the man child Peter Parker or even, in other media, they're constantly regressing him to a teenager. That stuff's not all that interesting to me. I like an actual adult Spider-Man, an actual Spider-Man. Um, let's see. Somebody says, does Lindsay Ellis do anal? I would probably think she does. If I was a betting man, you'd have to ask Todd in the watching chair, though. I mean, I'm sure he didn't do it himself, but you'd have to ask if Lindsay lets Tyrone stick it up her ass while he watches. Um, yeah, I don't know exactly what people are asking in chat. Like, why does MJ have spider powers? Well, the way it works, and I missed the first few issues of the series, so I'm not exactly sure how they explained it. But the way it works is there was some sort of thing done to her where, like, some sort of tech she has, where it actually drains the powers from Peter. Like, basically, she can take up to half of Spider-Man's strength and agility. It kind of drains his powers a little bit, but it's enough that he can still operate and all. But his powers are sort of divided between the two of them. And yeah, it's a good book. I enjoy it. It's, as far as I know, the only Marvel. Yeah, it's the only Marvel comics I read. The rest is DC or little oddball indie titles. Like there's a Rick and Morty comic I read. There's shit, what the hell else am I even reading? I don't even know. There's a couple of DC things. Like Batman's pretty good right now. I just hopped into a Superman story arc because it had a Sinestro and Parallax in it, Green Lantern characters. And what the fuck else? There's a few miniseries I'm reading, like the Justice League Power Ranger crossover, and there's a Batman Shadow crossover. I'm enjoying some of this Batman like Dark Knight metal stuff going on. I'm not sure where they're going with that, um, but good stuff. Somebody says, have I read The Count of Monte Cristo? I did back when I was a teenager. I think I read it. Yeah, I read it in high school. It's good stuff. Um, Anal is as bad for your health as cigarettes, and people still smoke. Not surprised. Want to get their shit torn up. Yeah, anal is very bad for your health. I mean, it's not like, if you're a woman and you let your husband fuck you in the ass like once in a while, maybe on fucking Valentine's Day or some shit like that, it's not going to cause you any real problems most likely. But habitual anal sex is one of the most unhealthy things you can possibly do. Somebody says, what do you think of female comic book fans? Suspicion at this point. That's what I think of them. There's just so many, and don't get me wrong, not all of them like that by no means. But there's just so many fucking bandwagon. There's so many fake geek girls out there that just ruin, that just shit up a hobby. Is there a comic gate brewing like Gamergate? I think there kind of is. Guys like Captain Cummings and Diversity in Comics are really leading the charge, and yeah, they're making some waves in the industry. That's for sure. Somebody says, I've been diving into the deep lore of Power Rangers. Apparently, we wouldn't have Power Rangers without Godzilla. Well, yeah, I mean, the original Japanese show was based off all that stuff. Somebody says, if anal was bad for your health, Sasha Grey would have died 10 years ago. Well, you never know. There's some people who could just take stuff that's bad for their health, Like the dude who smoked cigars every day of his life and lives to be 100, Apparently, Cristiano was revealed to have a brony mate. What is that, brony mate? Dating profile? That guy has such a sad love life. Yeah. Let's see. Power Rangers is unwatchable. When I was a kid, I was just a touch too old for the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I would watch it sometimes, but I wasn't really into it. I was a little too old to be getting like action figures or anything like that. And I thought it was like bad, but at times I thought it was okay. Like I liked the Green Ranger saga and shit like that. But it's one of those things that was on all the time, and a bunch of my friends were watching it. So I almost couldn't help but be familiar with it. And the actual core concept I don't think is bad. And in fact, Boom has a Power Ranger comic out that is damn good. Let's see. Somebody says anal is awful for one's health. It should be common sense, yet people still don't see the issue with homos. Yeah, it's not good for your health. Again, I mean, I don't want to, there's lots of things that aren't good for your health that aren't going to kill you if you do it once in a while, if you do it with moderation. But yeah, you can't say that it's physically good for you by any stretch. And yeah, that's why gay people develop so many health problems. Never mind even the AIDS. I mean, gay people just seem to. It spreads disease. It does all kinds of damage to your internal systems. Again, I mean, you can point to the fact that yeah, a woman might take it in the ass once in a while, but that's once in a while. With gay guys, that's all they do. Um, Somebody says, "Why is Milo still alive?" Um, well, I believe Milo said it best when he said, "God hates fags, but he hates feminists more." So I think that's why Milo is still alive, just because it pisses off feminists. Uh, Even from a non-Christian perspective, gayness is fucking moronic, doesn't work well, and so as Chet just moved up there, that shit isn't healthy. I think male homosexuality in particular is far more unhealthy. There's a reason that there's more of an instinctual revulsion towards gay guys than lesbians, and that's simply like lesbians don't spread disease to nearly the same level. Just because lesbians are fucking each other in the ass all the time. They're not shoving their fists up each other's ass. I mean, we might be, but not. It's not inherent to what they do like it is with gay guys. So I think part of the reason there is an instinctful disgust towards gay guys is just, I mean, you know, that's a good way to spread nasty diseases and shit. Um, let's see. Milo might have a decade of life left if he keeps taking it up the ass. Um, Somebody says lesbians do spread psychosis, though. Oh yeah, that. Trust me, most societies have never been particularly fond of lesbians, but in ancient societies, it didn't hold the same drive them from the village with torches mentality it did with gay guys. Um, have any of you heard of lesbian bed death? Yeah, that's I it's almost hard to put into words why, but if you know anything about female nature, it's kind of obvious that there's something about homosexuality that I think just inevitably burns out. It like the You don't have the masculine and the feminine feeding into each other, um, revitalizing each other the way a male and female relationship does. Now, with men, it burns out so much quicker because in some ways, male sexuality is like a firecracker. It's whereas a woman's sexuality is almost like a match. It doesn't burn as bright, but it burns longer, kind of thing. Um, that's why I think that's why the gay guys die so damn young, and then the women just seem to almost outlive their sex drive, and then it just becomes I don't know what the fuck they do, eating cookie dough and watching Lifetime or whatever the hell they do. Somebody says, "Can you live longer if you just give it up the ass but don't take it?" I guess, but you're still likely to catch diseases that way. I mean, never mind, you know, things like AIDS and actual STDs. You're sticking your dick in shit. I mean, you're more likely to catch like E. coli and stuff like that. Um, how about if it's a strictly monogamous relationship? Um, well, with gay guys, I doubt that exists outside of a very rare amount of them. But I suppose that mitigates the factors, but still, you know, it still doesn't make it healthy. The lifestyle is a massive disease vector. Yeah, that's kind of why, you know. I mean, most societies, you know, didn't want any part of that. You can point to like the Roman and Greek exceptions. You know, the closest thing to a functional society that liked that shit, but generally, most societies are like, yeah, that's not how this works. So he says gay monogamy equal oxymoron. Yeah, it's certainly a rarity among them. Monogamy would decrease the chances of AIDS, but anal sex would gradually kill them. Yeah, it's. Aaron Clary says, "Oh, finally, Bechtloff is doing a podcast, so I have something to listen to for my hike tomorrow." Hey, you know, what did I just do one? Like, when was it? Monday, something like that. No any solid information about how homosexuality was carried out in Greece and Rome so that they didn't fall apart. Well, they did fall apart. They just, you know, lasted a bit longer than I don't know. I mean, why are you trying to make it work? It's not going to work. Quit trying to find out a way that's going to work. Where does Bechtloff get such insight into the gay community? Well, honestly, a lot of it's just, you know, hate to use the term, but being red pilled on it, being woke and all. I mean, the last few years, the gay community is just fucking out there more. Like, you just open up your eyes and see it. Trust me, my opinion of the gay community is a lot lower than it once was. I never was, you know, I never thought it was equal. Even in my God-hating agnostic days, I never thought it's just like being straight. No, it's not. It's obviously a dysfunction. I mean, just from a purely biological standpoint, you know, it's an evolutionary dead end. But just look at them. It's yeah. I don't see. Years ago, I had a certain respect for them because, again, my primary political motivation is and always has been get off my lawn. That's my primary political instinct. That's really all my politics is and ever has been summed up. Get off my lawn. Now, I'm a bit more, shall we say, Pinochet in that kind of libertarianism these days because I'm beginning to realize some of these motherfuckers are never going to get off my lawn. And maybe they need to be physically removed from my lawn. But I used to see the gay community as a bunch of people who wanted to be left alone. And while I didn't agree with their lifestyle, I didn't think it was all that healthy, I could respect that. You want to be left alone? Well, shit, I want to be left alone too. That works out perfectly. See you, bye. But it turns out that's not what they want. Because if it was what they want, they would have shut the fuck up after the gay marriage thing. That would have been the last thing. Like, okay, yeah, now we got a piece of paper from the government. All right, we're going to go live our lives and not bother you anymore. Well, shit. Okay, goodbye. See ya. See you in hell, fucker. You know? But that's not what happened, was it? No, it turned into bake me the cake and throw me the parade or I'm going to put you in jail. Oh, I don't want the government in my bedroom. Yeah, I used to think that's what they were all about. And, well, shit, I don't want the government in my bedroom either. So I guess that works out perfectly. The problem is I don't want your bedroom out on fucking Main Street. Um, let's see what the chat was saying while I was rambling on. Somebody says gender binary is a social construct, the evil tool of the patriarchy. Uh, um, homosexuals impact society. The ripples spreading. Windstone is thrown in the water. Somebody says they think CEF has a gay aunt. Let's see. Doesn't affect you. How does it affect you? I saw a tweet one time when it was like, how? And then, like, in the little asterisk indicating action, like, turns every TV show gay. Does, preaches transsexualism to your child. It, closes down your bakery, affects you, kind of thing. Just going through all the things of, like, it just, I mean, homosexuals are what? They're supposed to be like 3% of the population at most. Why are they in like 40% of my fucking comic books? You know what I mean? Like, enough's enough. We just want representation. Well, this is over representation. Doesn't affect you. Somebody says, bought my first gun last week. Oh, that's good. Yeah, definitely have to have some guns. Let's see. The nightclub came from the homosexual underground. I always hated going to the club. My high school sweetheart used to like fucking going to the club. She just the I don't know. She just saw the allure of the dance club, I guess. But I always hated it. Let's see. Jack Donovan will defeat the AZ horde with a flaming sword. I mean, I respect Jack Donovan more than in some regards I should. I mean, he's got that LARPy pagan bullshit, and he was apparently all Satanist at one point, because fucking, of course he was. And obviously, he's, all about twink ass. But he seems like a respectable man. Again, he's kind of what I imagined. He's kind of what I thought the gay community was years ago. Just guys that want to be left alone. And I will say, The Way of Men is a damn good book. When I did that little video where I was like looking at my bookshelf, The Way of Men is actually sitting right next to Gorilla Mindset on my bookshelf, and I kind of said, both these books are, you can definitely say a lot of negative things about the authors, and I certainly have my issues with the pair of them, but both of those are damn good books, and the truth is the truth, regardless of who says it. Let's see. Um, the gay community was shit from the start. Yeah. Let's see. People bitching about Common Filth. I like Common Filth. I don't, I mean, yeah, he's a bit angry, sometimes too much for his own good. And I do think he can focus on the gay issue with a bit too much of a laser focus, but only a bit. He's right far more often than he's wrong. And you know what? He turned out to be right about the alt right. Turned out to be right about so many of them fuckers, didn't he? Let's see. Um, Somebody says your thoughts on Cernovich. Again, Grill Mindset's a pretty good book. It really is. It's definitely worth a read. And I used to really like Cernovich. I used to respect the hell out of him. Lately, not so much. He's like he's talking about he's become this cartoon character of everybody is a fed if that's further right to me or something like that. Like he says, Cantwell's a fed. If Cantwell is a fed, then why is he getting thrown under the bus as hard as he is? I mean, I can understand thinking Richard Spencer's a fed. I don't really think he is. I think the establishment just likes having him around because he's a useful idiot who always, always, always takes the bait of attention to walk into any and every trap. But Cantwell clearly isn't a fed. They threw him under the bus. Nobody's been thrown under a bus harder than Cantwell. I mean, he is several sub basement levels beneath that bus at this point. Yeah, I don't understand what's happened to Cernovich. Maybe Cernovich always was the hanger on and the just true whore that some people always made him out to be. Maybe he really was. I don't know. I never met him personally. Forney vouches for him, which is I do take a recommendation from Forney seriously. Forney's pretty good at character, spotting character, but I don't know. I think Cernovich is kind of a fucking clown at this point. Uh, let's see. Scrolling through. Um, Somebody says Da Vinci and Michelangelo were both celibate gays. I have heard that about Da Vinci, and there is considerable evidence that he had homosexual urges. But and a lot of liberals will make it be like, well, see, he was a gay guy. He loved boy ass. He was all about. Well, he was a deeply religious man, and the evidence seems to indicate that if indeed he truly did have those urges, he didn't act on it. Now, I mean, we're talking about a man that lived hundreds of years ago when record keeping was spotty at best, but it my thought is on Da Vinci is that he was probably attracted to men and he probably didn't act on it. If he did, it would have been like, one time and he went to church and repented of it kind of thing. Like, I really I don't think he was just a practicing homosexual, just kept it hidden. I don't buy that at all. He was far too religious of a man for that. He's far too Christian a man for that. He might have struggled with those urges. I don't know how triumphant he was in that struggle, but I never buy the leftist lie that he was a total fag and he hid it from the church. Oh, fuck you. That's the thing about leftists. They can't understand having urges and not letting those urges define you or control you. That's something they just cannot process. You know, you just have to identify as your worst fucking urges in their mind. Let's see. Um, Somebody says, should exceptional gays be encouraged to force themselves to have children? For example, Da Vinci's genes should have been preserved. That's a tough question because then you have to ask yourself, is the homosexuality itself genetic? I've personally never bought the argument that it was. At the very least, I don't think it's mostly genetic. I mean, human beings are complex creatures. We are all the results of nature, nurture, and choice, that metaphysical third element that materialists don't even think exists, but it does. Trust me, guys. Maybe if you weren't so spiritually autistic, you could see it. But yeah, we're all a result of nature, nurture, and choice. And I do think nurture holds far more of a sway on sexuality than most people in our modern world seem to think it does. I think there are very few people who are just genetically either completely predisposed to be gay or even genetically completely adverse to it. I think how one is raised in childhood probably plays a huge part of that. A lot of psychologists, back when it wasn't taboo to dare to question the narrative of Born That Way, believed that homosexuality was the result, especially in males, but in both sexes, was the result of failing to connect to the parent of the same sex or peers of the same sex at early formative ages, prepubescent ages. I think there's probably a lot to that. Um, but there is some evidence that at least being somewhat predisposed to it is genetic. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I buy the genetic thing. Even being predisposed to it, it just seems like the kind of genetic trait that is bound to be weeded out by natural selection for obvious reasons. Let's see. Leftists think being gay is natural and genetic, but leftists also think intelligence isn't heritable. Evolution stops at the neck. Yeah, only the part of your brain that makes you gay is apparently genetically determined. Genes are no guarantee of greatness. Great people have mediocre kids all the time. Well, again, I mean, nature, nurture, and choice. We're all a combination of those three things. Race Jacobson says, my theory, it's neither congenital or chosen. It's just a fetish, and fetish develops unconsciously after puberty. No matter which it is, doesn't absolve people of responsibility for their actions. I think you're kind of onto something there. Like I said, I think it's I think the theory of it being failing to connect to either peers or the parent of the same sex, I think that holds a lot of sway. And I think you'd probably be shocked at the amount of gay people that plays out in. And think of it this way. How many women do you know who have difficulty with the opposite sex because of daddy issues? Talking about the stripper on the pole or the prostitute or the porn star, the famous cliched line is she has daddy issues. Daddy didn't love her, or maybe he loved her a little too much in the wrong way, if you know what I'm saying. And likewise, lots of guys working out mommy issues out there. That's not quite as obvious. But a lot of oddball sexuality, be it full-on homosexuality or just maybe a fetish or just how maybe you in unhealthy ways interact with the opposite sex. A lot of that stems from how you, at least in your mind did or did not have your needs met as a child. Somebody says homosexuality is likely caused in utero, hormonal fluctuations during fetal gestation, genetics, environment are cofactors. And there's probably something to that as well. I think there's probably a soup of factors involved. I imagine if somebody ends up a full-blown homosexual, I imagine that there was probably a perfect storm of factors that caused it. Is what probably is. Because I mean, think of it this way: like, I don't think anyone is genetically predisposed to be gay. I think there are some males who are genetically predisposed to, well, let's just call, I don't know, in my day we'd call them a sissy. You know, just smaller, weaker, maybe a little bit more timid, a little bit more shy, a little bit more introverted, right? And then those kids maybe get picked on and get called a fag, and in some ways that could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. But I don't think that just because they're kind of weaker, kind of more timid, more introverted, that makes them gay. Likewise, I think there's probably a lot of women who are just genetically kind of predisposed to be a bit of a tomboy, and you know, they might face similar ostracization for that reason. Again, self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. I think the actual idea of what causes homosexuality is a very interesting topic, because it's likely a very complex one, and it's one that isn't given enough study, because so many people are going to come to it with inherently an axe to grind because it's such an visceral topic. I mean, either, you know, you want to prove something one way or another, no matter, you know, you're probably coming to this with some sort of axe to grind. It would be hard to get a lot of impartial scientific study of it, especially with the sorry state science as an institution is in right now. Let's see. Will a bakery bake me an ignore sodomite orders cake? I mean, well, you know, technically they have to. Let's see. Going through the chat here. So he says, think making homosexuality an identity is a big part of the problem. Oh, I absolutely agree. I always thought that was an incredibly stupid thing to do. Even in, you know, my more agnostic pre-Christian days, when I didn't think there was anything inherently wrong with it morally. Maybe, you know, it's kind of inferior on a biological level, obviously, but I still thought it was just so stupid, you know, and part of that's because at the time I bought the idea that they're just like, you know, straights, except for this one thing, quote unquote. But the idea of making your sexuality in general like part of your identity, I mean, just your core identity. I mean, I'm a heterosexual, and I don't feel the need to, like, you know, introduce somebody, shake a hand, like, hi, Chris Bechtloff, I love to eat pussy. You know, that's never been that's not the first thing that comes to mind when I'm asked to describe myself, you know? And I point this out a lot, especially when I'm talking to CF. I'm like, one of the things that really gets me about some of these people he points out on these Tumblrisms is that it's not even that they have this weird role playing or fetish thing or whatever. It's that they live in it. You know what I mean? That's the phrase that really gets me. Say somebody who's into like age play or puppy play or something like that. When they say like, I live as a puppy or I live as a toddler or baby or whatever, like, that's really what just kind of gets me. You live that way? Why? Like, I would think, like, most couples, if they, they're into some kinky shit in the bedroom, they have their fun, and then they put the handcuffs and the whips away, and they go about, being a couple after that, you live that way? How could you just be on all the time like that in some sort of role play thing like that without losing your mind? And that's what happens to them, really. They just fucking lose their mind. Um, let's see. Somebody says, Bechtloff, liberal scientists don't want to find out how gays are made, because if people find out how gays are made, then people would avoid these factors like the plagues. Liberals don't want that. Also, if you find out what causes gays, and it's not genetic, or it's not mostly genetic, then there's also the idea that you might be able to cure them. I think there's far more to these gay conversion things than most people are willing to admit. I'm sure that it doesn't have the highest success rating because you know, curing mental diseases in general doesn't have the highest success rating, if we're being honest. But I think these things are often far more successful than most people are willing to admit. Let's see. There's another thing up here I thought I saw. People go so far down the identity politics rabbit hole that they think they can dictate what pronouns to use. Oh, yeah, the pronouns thing is such utter bullshit. I mean, think about this. I had a transsexual on here sometime last year. And I thought, and because I don't get the chance to ask them a lot of the questions to actually hear what their answers are to some of these questions. And I had this person on. This person seems nice enough. They were very civil. They were very polite. It was a good talk. Robin is this person's name. And fair enough. I'll call you by whatever the fuck name you want on here. I mean, it's not like I know what's Common Phil's name is. That's obviously not his birth name. So you have a stage name for the sake of this live stream. Fine, I'll call you that. But I'm not going to call you by feminine pronouns if I know you're actually a man. But the thing about it is, I didn't have to. It didn't come up. And the reason it didn't come up is because using pronouns for him would only be a factor if I'm talking about him, not if I'm talking to him. So you can't even argue that it's polite to use the pronouns because you're not talking to them when you use them. That's literally someone is trying to control how you talk about them when they're not around. It's thought policing. Let's see. That guy in the UK who abandoned his wife and kids to live with another family while pretending to be a 6-year-old girl. Yeah, like, shame on you, man. What? You left a wife and kids for that? Fuck you. Special place in hell. Let's see. Somebody just says Mexican sugar dancing. Let's see. So he says, I used to know a girl who was into age play when she was 16, 17. Well, the thing on age play is, if I'm being honest with you, I can kind of see the appeal of it somewhat. I mean, I've played a little teacher student, you know what I'm saying, with some of my ex-girlfriends there. And I don't think any man who's ever bedded more than 3 women hasn't been called daddy in bed. It happens. I can kind of see the appeal of age play. It's because it's just another kind of power fantasy. A teacher student thing or whatever. Um, but the baby play when you're actually like shitting and pissing your pants, I don't get that. Yeah. Um, Somebody says, "Do you think Trump is ever going to build the wall?" Uh, I do. I think he is going to get the wall built. Um, I think that much is going to happen. I mean, he's already been pretty staying the course when it comes to the whole immigration issue. I mean, there's a lot of things you can complain about Trump. I I think he's a bit too neocon on foreign policy. I don't think that's what we elected him for, but I think he's going to build the wall, and that'll be helpful. That's not a cure-all by any stretch, but it'll be helpful. Uh, Somebody says, I guess referring to that girl that was an age play. I'm talking that she had a cuddly toy blanket and a pacifier. Yeah, I don't see the appeal of that. I mean, I assume you mean she wasn't shitting her pants, but still, I don't get that. But hey, it doesn't affect you. Um, Somebody says Trump's been talking about that wall for decades. It's his biggest concern, from what I recall. Yeah, I think he's going to get the wall done, and that alone is a big help. I mean, you know, it's by no means a cure-all, but it'll be a big help. Let's see. Somebody says, "Who the fuck would want to fuck a baby or a grown?" I don't know. Maybe effing Rawls would. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all see that last night? I actually managed to catch that shit show live. Uh, so there's this YouTuber, effing Rawls or Ross, and it's like Ross, but it's spelled ARAWZ. If you go on Mr. Medicare's Twitter timeline right now, you'll see he was talking about it quite a bit. What happened was, I guess Mr. Medicare stumbled across this guy's live stream when this Berg was talking about how he likes to watch YouTube videos of kids naked in the bathtub. Because I mean, the guy's basically a pedophile. Like, people were looking into it, and like he's admitting he has feelings for children, as he put it, and he's seeking help. I mean, the guy's a pedophile. Now, he was trying to argue that, oh, no, 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 I just look at these videos because it's cute. It's like a cat video. Maybe if it was like kids playing in the playground or something, I could see that, but not when they're taking baths. I've never like I've had coworkers before, like, try and, like, like, force me to look at baby pictures, basically. And there's no polite way out of it. And then there's one where, like, the kid's in the bathtub. That's happened to me before at a job. I remember one time, it was this lady showed me pictures of her granddaughter, right? And the one, like, the girl's in the bathtub. I'm like, why are you showing me that? What the fuck, man? Um, and by the way, don't put pictures of kids on the internet. Don't fucking do it. Don't fucking do it. Do not fucking do it. Certainly not on Twitter, because Twitter is really a public forum. Not on fucking YouTube. Not on Facebook even, okay? Don't fucking do it. Because then they're just out there. How many fucking memes out there are pictures of kids? You know, like your daughter has this weird look on her face like she just shit her pants. Well, she didn't, but it's like this weird, like she's taking a dump in her pants, like groaning look on her face. Let's say that in a picture, right? And then that turns into a meme, and your daughter is the kid that shit her pants. And that's, you think that's not going to be found out on a playground and shit? Don't put pictures of your kids on the internet. Don't fucking do it. It is a massive violation of their fucking privacy. How many of you that didn't grow up in the internet age would be happy if your entire fucking childhood was public record? Don't fucking do it. And especially don't do it because fucking pedos are jerking off to that shit. But anyways, this stream, it was effing Ross. Mr. Medicare hopped into it. I think King of Pole was in it, whatever. And wow, it was quite the shit show. It was quite the shit show. And there's a bunch of he took the stream down, this Ross character. But people have at least archived the Medicare portion of it. It's something. It's something to behold. In fact, I highly suspect Jim's kind of released a video schedule for the next few weeks, but I would be shocked if he doesn't end up doing the internet insanity on this guy. John Steele says in the chat, if you're a porn star, you never have kids. Oh, yeah. We've had that discussion on here before about Aurora Snow wrote that apology to her kid about her porn star past, where she, takes no responsibility for it. I needed the money. Bullshit. You've admitted before that you grew up in an upper middle class neighborhood. It's you're writing at the Daily Beast under your porn name because you just still need that hot load of attention in your face still. You and Richard Spencer both. You don't have kids. I mean, it's one thing if you marry because the guy knows what he's getting into. He knows he knows he's going to spend the rest of his days throwing a golf pencil down a mine shaft. That's fine. He signed up for it. But the kid's innocent. The kid didn't sign up for that shit. Because, imagine growing up with that. It's one thing when the bully calls your mom a whore. It's another thing when he can produce hours of video evidence that she is indeed the filthiest of whores. It's like, hey, Aurora Snow's kid, guess what? Says the bully. Here's this video of like 15 Black Panthers running a train on your mom. Yeah, oh, wow. Little Timmy learning his mom was fucking his aunt on the internet for money. Don't let these hoes and homongers reproduce. Yeah, that it's just no. Yeah. You never should have had a kid, or you never should have subjected a kid to that. Yeah. Let's see. I think I'm probably going to wrap this up, Hen. Been rambling on for a while. All right. So, Artistic Layman was just messaging me. Probably going to do a late night stream for the sponsored stream. Oh, pardon me. Oh, Captain Morgan's kicking in. I'm getting sleepy. If you would like to sponsor a stream, if you have something you're just dying to hear me talk about for, an hour or so, you can message me on Skype at the Bechtloff. You can message me on the Bechtloff Facebook page, and we can talk about it. If it's something I think I can have something entertaining or insightful to say on, we can work out a price then. This was kind of something that just got suggested to me just now, so I haven't even really, um, given too much thought to the price. I'm not going to tell what the guy paid, but he made me a quote, and I said, "Oh, that's fine. We can go with that." But I haven't really sat down and thought of a solid rate. So, but it is something I wouldn't mind doing in the future. And yeah. So I hope he'll get his money's worth. I'm putting a little bit of research into it. I mean, not a ton. I'm not like, spending hours. I mean, I don't know that many places to look aside from combing through her site and, shit like that. But yeah, if it's a topic I think I can cover, I'll cover it. We can work something out. Also, if you enjoy the show, you can check out the tip jar down below where you can fuck you pay me, because I need some shekels. Somebody said, is the sponsor still viewable by people who didn't pay? Yes, it will be. It'll be just a regular live stream. Basically, you're sponsoring it to get me to talk about the topic you want me to talk about. To spend a whole hour on the one topic is what you're paying for. But yeah. So, tip jar down below. If you appreciate the show, I appreciate tips. That helps me keep doing what I'm doing. And like, comment, subscribe, share this on the Twitter, the Facebook, the Gab, all that good stuff. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, Captain Morgan's kicking in. I'm getting sleepy. All right. Oh, sorry, so folks. That's about all we got for tonight. I want to thank you all for listening. Bechtloff out.